Stop punishing yourself. A touching story about self-forgiveness, healing, and learning to love yourself again. There was a young woman named Sarah who lived in a small and peaceful town. From the outside, she looked happy, always smiling, always kind to everyone. But deep inside her heart, there was a sadness she could never escape. Years ago, Sarah made a mistake that changed her life. It wasn't something evil, but it hurt someone she deeply loved. Since that day, she carried guilt like a shadow that never left her. Every morning, she looked in the mirror and felt pain. She whispered to herself, "You don't deserve happiness." Even when others smiled at her, she couldn't return it honestly. She tried to live normally, to work, to laugh, to enjoy life again. But her mind was like a prison, full of memories that wouldn't go away. She kept thinking about what she should have done differently. Her friends noticed that she wasn't the same anymore. They invited her out. They told her jokes. They tried to make her laugh. But Sarah always found a reason to stay home and hide her sadness. One day, her best friend Layla came to see her. She said, "Sarah, you can't keep living in the past. You have to forgive yourself." Sarah looked down and said quietly, "I can't. I don't deserve it." Layla took her hand gently and said, "We all make mistakes, my dear. The past is a teacher, not a prison." But Sarah's eyes filled with tears. It's easy to say, but it's not easy to feel. That evening, after her friend left, Sarah went for a walk. The sky was turning gold and purple as the sun set behind the hills. She sat on a wooden bench in the park, her heart full of heavy thoughts. An old man with kind eyes sat down beside her. He smiled softly and said, "You look tired, young lady, not from work, but from your thoughts." Sarah looked surprised and said, "You're right, sir. My heart feels heavy." The man nodded slowly and said, "Maybe it's time to put that weight down." Sarah frowned. "How can I? The past keeps following me everywhere." He looked at her and said gently, "That's because you never forgave yourself." Sarah stared at him for a moment. She said, "I hurt someone I loved. I can't take that back." The man replied, "No one can, but you can decide what you do next." He continued, "We all fall. We all make wrong choices. But punishing yourself again and again, that's not justice, that's pain. And pain that never ends doesn't make you better. It just makes you smaller." Sarah listened quietly. His words touched something deep inside her, something she thought was gone. Tears ran down her face, but for the first time, they didn't feel heavy. The man said, "You are not your mistakes. You are what you learn from them. And you can't become who you are meant to be if you never forgive who you were. Sarah looked at the sky. The colors were fading, but a few stars began to appear. She whispered, "I want to forgive myself, but I don't know how." The old man smiled and said, "Start small. Write a letter to yourself. Say everything you feel. Then forgive that version of you, the one who didn't know better." That night, Sarah did exactly that. She sat at her desk with a cup of tea and a trembling hand. She wrote, "Dear me, I forgive you. You did your best with what you knew." When she finished, she cried for a long time, but it was a different kind of crying. It wasn't full of guilt anymore, but full of release and light. It felt like her heart had been waiting for this moment for years. From that day, Sarah began to change. She started taking care of herself again, walking, reading, smiling. She even called the person she hurt and asked for forgiveness, and they forgave her. For the first time in a long time, she felt peace. She learned that forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It simply allows you to move forward without pain. Months later, she returned to the park. She saw the old man sitting in the same place. She walked up to him and said with a smile, "You were right." The man looked at her with kind eyes and said, "You see? The weight is gone." Sarah nodded and said, "Yes. I stopped punishing myself." He smiled and said softly, "Then you finally learned to live." Sarah realized something powerful that day. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting your mistake. It means accepting that you are human, and that growth is more important than guilt. So if you too are holding something heavy inside your heart, please stop punishing yourself. You deserve peace, you deserve love, and you deserve to begin again.